Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you're listening at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize.
All right, so at this time we are welcoming author, podcast, businesswoman, coach, podcast influencer, Coach Tina Ramsey.
What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you're listening at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. Your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media.
2024 Ignite Change Empowerment Virtual Conference. Join us for 3 days on February 23-25, 2024 from 6 p.m. 9 p.m. EST by CTR Media Network. Are you ready to unlock your potential and make a meaningful impact? This is an opportunity to connect with a diverse audience and contribute to breaking down barriers that hinder progress. Support the cause, sponsorship and collaboration opportunities. While the speaker opportunity is free, we are offering limited opportunities for sponsorship, vendor slots, advertisement spots, and welcome donations to support the production of this transformative event. If you represent a media company, business, podcaster, or any organization interested in collaboration, please reach out to info@ctrmedianetwork.com or visit our website at www.ctrmedianetwork.com.
Hello there, my name is Tiffany Bell and I am with Nonprofit CEO. I specialize in helping nonprofits to grow. I had the honor and pleasure of connecting with Tina Ramsey last year through the Success Women's Conference. Since then, I've appeared on her show several times, and as a result of that, I have really been able to connect to some really great entrepreneurs and nonprofit professionals that are part of her network. So for those of you who are not aware, Tina is a certified VCM coach. Now, when I first heard that, I was like, VCM? What does that stand for? But once she explained it to me, I was like, oh, it makes perfect sense. So for anybody that knows Tina, she's all about visibility. She's all about connection, and she's all about helping people create a source of income through monetization. And so, again, Tina is just really good at what she does. If you've not connected with Tina, if you've seen her show or heard her podcast and you're thinking about connecting with her, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. As a result of my connections with Tina, she has helped me with recruitment of speakers for my upcoming event. She's also helped me to recruit several authors for a few of the book projects that I have had the opportunity to produce in this past year. And in all, Tina's just a really great person, that she's genuine in helping entrepreneurs in reaching their goals. So again, if you have not connected with Tina, be sure that you do. The Tina Ramsay Show is definitely a great venue for you to connect with other entrepreneurs, to connect with other individuals that are going to be interested in your service or your project. This is Tiffany Bell. Again, you are watching and listening to the Tina Ramsay Show, and I look forward to being able to connect with you again.
Our families, like that was something that was said, so it became normal. It was regular for us to rob Peter to pay Paul, right? But now that I'm financially aware, like that's not living.
No.
Like,
I
that's
you know, you know, I 1000% agree with you. And that is one of those, I would call them idioms in English, where you say one thing, but it means something totally different. In the case of this, Robbie, you're not thinking about financial stability, you know. And
Right.
so the fact that you use that analogy, which is so common, I mean, I heard it last week, okay? That's how common it is for everyone. And so the fact that you even start learning with your financial awareness, your stress cues, that if
Yes.
you're stressed, oh, when I'm stressed, it causes me to do this, which is go to the mall and shop to try to forget whatever it is that's
Right.
stressing me out. But in hindsight, 2020, you're creating more of a problem because you know you have limited income, and then you go to the mall and everything in the mall is just higher. Just, you know,
Yes.
it's more expensive. And so you get that, what they call it, retail gratification. Then when you get home and you look at that bill, you be like, oh
Lord, yeah, what did I do? Regret, and then you start regretting. Because I know another thing that I used to do is I would just, like, if it was something I wanted to do, I would just do it, right? Because I wasn't really, I'm gonna say, wasn't really cognitive of the effects that it was going to have. Even though I knew the effects, I wasn't cognitive of how serious it was. But then what would happen is now you're regretting things, right? So even if it was taking my kids out to eat because I wanted to be able to, you know, do that for them, but now when it's time to pay the car payment, I'm regretful that I took them out to eat. So it was like, once you become aware and you realize, like, that's really not a way to live, because now we're going to become resentful. And what I never want to do is be resentful of the things that I did for my children.
Oh, yes. And the fact that now, so these are some of the things that you help other individuals with, be able to figure all this stuff out and basically navigate this world of finances so that we can make more better decisions in regards to understanding how, I like to say, life be life. And sometimes when life is life and we do things that we may not necessarily plan to do, but is it smart to do? Is it smart to do? Wow. So I'm going to add it to my vocabulary. Financial awareness. Listen, do you have some financial awareness? You need to go talk with Chantel. So what we're going to do, we're going to take another commercial break from our sponsors. Then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about something else, because you are so vocal, so confident, so bold in this realm that most people shy away from, which is finances and Lord knows taxes. Because, you know, in our community, we can get happy by January. Be like, where them dependents at?
Right.
You know, get excited. And you telling us we got to change our whole mindset over.
Yes.
But I also know something that I think the audience would like to know a little bit, because you didn't let this stop you. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what that thing is and it's going to give our people some motivation. So you guys, we're going to be right back after we take the commercial break from our sponsors, and we're going to get more into the conversation with Chantel. We'll be back in a moment. Join the She Trucking Foundation today and be a part of a supportive community of women in the trucking industry. Unlock exclusive access to valuable resources, including mentorship, educational workshops, and networking opportunities. Whether you're an experienced professional or just starting your trucking journey, She Trucking is here to empower you and help you thrive. Visit www.shetrucking.com to join us and drive your trucking career to new heights.
A really great experience on the Tina Ramsey show. I felt like she really asked some valuable questions that can help a lot of people, especially in regards to monetizing. And so the vibe was great. I honestly wouldn't mind coming back on again if she invite me. And I felt like the conversation just flowed. So I am super happy, and I can't wait for the show to air on every single platform out there. And thank you again.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com. And just like that, we are back. But I come along, you know what I'm going to say, with a friend whom you might ask, the amazing Chantel Davis. And we are going to talk more about this financial awareness. And also, we're going to share a little bit, because I know sometimes y'all like a little tidbit about the guests that we have. And guess what? Little birdie told me that Chantel is an introvert.
Yes.
So how in the world you are doing something like finance education, taxes, mortgage strategies, where you have to deal with a lot of people, and you're an introvert? So, okay, wait. I just got to break this down. So you're an introvert entrepreneur, you're a tax strategist, and you encourage your clients and colleagues regularly. So how do you balance yourself being an introvert by nature, and also the demands of building relationships and networking in your field, which can be difficult and exhausting for an introvert? Why? Because I'm an introvert. Go ahead.
All above. So I am an introvert by nature. And I think that it's important. So something that I had to learn, right? So I think it's important that people understand what that actually means, because it doesn't mean that I'm shy, right? It doesn't mean that I'm antisocial. It does not mean that I don't know how to interact with people. What it really means is that my preference is to be somewhere alone, right? By myself, spending time with me. And it wasn't easy, because imagine being an introvert who likes to spend time with yourself, but not liking yourself, right? So once I grew into understanding who I was and understanding that everything that I do is purpose driven, it makes it very simple. It makes it very easy for me to go out and do what I do. Now, does that mean that I don't clam up sometimes? Because sometimes I get in environments, sometimes I get in rooms, and I am like a invisible person. Like, can you see me? Sometimes it happens sometimes, but I have to remember that it's what I do is purpose driven. So it's not about me. It's about what has been instilled in me, what has been given to me to be able to help my community. Once I go through that cycle through my process, then I'm able to go out and boldly say that this is who I am and this is what I do. But what I can tell you is that it's a struggle daily.
Yes. And believe it or not, most people don't believe it, but it's the truth. I'm an introvert. I describe myself as an introvert with extrovert tendencies, which means that just like you, I'm purpose driven. I know why I'm here. I know who I am, and I am very passionate and also consistent about making sure I do what I'm put on this earth to do, because I know it's not about me. It's about the people who God aligned me in order to help. And so even though I get uncomfortable, I still push myself out there because like you, I'm fine with me, myself, and I. I'm fine with it. Okay. And I'm an only child, which adds another layer onto it as well. So I'm used to being by myself. And although I love being with people, talking with people and stuff like that, but it can be very exhausting for a person who is an introvert, who is pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. Literally, I have to go recharge after every major event that I do if it's around a lot of people, because it's physically, emotionally draining. So the fact that I met a co-introvert that is very bold and confident like myself, but also realize, hey, now I like to decompress.
This is all for a little while, and then I got to go home.
Exactly. But the fact that you're doing something that is so much needed today, and you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone for the bigger cause, for the bigger mission, it just stands as a testament of your character and who you are, because this is something that you did not have to do. You could have still worked for someone else,
Right.
Fuel their own dreams, but you decided to take what you learned, your gifts, and be able to share them with other people so that they can make sound decisions with finances that we need so desperately now. So, Chantel, could you share some specific ways in which you can support us in these financial awareness and help fellow entrepreneurs, if you would say, navigate the complexities of taxes and financial planning to achieve their overall business goals?
So for me, what I do is I would say follow me on social media, because I love giving out just free advice, free information. I love informing the people. I feel like that there's a lot of misinformation that is circulating in these internet streets, to where my goal is to make sure that I am providing the information. So I do no cost consultations, right? One time, a 15-minute, but like I will answer whatever questions that you have, simply because I know that what I do is not easily or readily available in our community. And when I'm saying our community, in urban communities, is not readily available. And people need the information that we have. Another thing that I do, another way that I support people who may not be able to meet me where I am as it relates to paying for my service, is I have a nonprofit organization called Living the Dream International. And one of the programs that we offer is um, financial empowerment through entrepreneurship, where through that program, we provide you with the information that you need in order to start, grow, and scale your business. So really, the goal is to make sure that there's no reason why, if you come in contact with me or my organization, that you are not able to take your business to the next level.
Wow. So you are helping from a profit standpoint and from a nonprofit standpoint for individuals, along with you're doing part of your advocacy work. You are actually sharing out information on social media so that it can help people get the right information. And you're so correct today. We are so bombarded by so much content, so much information. Everybody is an expert nowadays, right? And maybe they just took one course and now they like, I'm an expert. No, you're not. And so the fact that we're dealing with finance is something that can be so intricate and have so many different layers, and having you be able to navigate this for us and be able to provide that needed assistance, whether you can meet your fee or go through the nonprofit way. Wow, you thought about everything, because with our community in general, we experience some being on the poverty line or below it, or they're trying to get 10 toes down to change their family trajectory for legacy. And so you're providing that avenue is very much needed. Do you provide any type of business accelerator strategy sessions, or and do you, if you do, is it for like a month or two? Because this finance thing can take more than just 30 days.
Absolutely. So we have in our business acceleration, so we have a business acceleration strategy session, which is a one-off session, right? So it's an hour session where it's one-off and where we basically give you a plan, right? So you tell us like what your goals are, you tell us what it is that you are wanting to do, what you're wanting to achieve, and together we're going to create the actual plan. So give you the actual blueprint of it. And then if you are interested in because so real life, right? There's times where someone can give you directions, and we're going to just use like a GPS. So I can give you directions, but if you don't have access to the GPS, are you going to be able to get there? Right? So I can give you a map, right? But I only know one person in my entire life that was amazing at reading maps, and that was my uncle, and he's not with us anymore, right? Because most people, we didn't know how to read the almanac or whatever it was called. So if you are needing the GPS, where we are going to be there with you for 6 months through our coaching program, then we also offer that as well. So it starts with that 1 hour session, just so that you can see, because what happens a lot of times is people just really aren't a lot of like what I find out is we really don't know the depth or the severity of our situation. And because we are not aware of that, we don't know how to bring ourselves out of it. So sometimes just having that initial conversation. So the reason why we do the initial conversation is because you need to know how serious where you are is. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna look at it. I'm sorry. You need to know how serious your situation is, and know like what is going to take in order for you to change your trajectory. And sometimes it's a blow to the gut and people aren't ready to be committed. So I want to make the change, but I'm not committed to it right now. So now once you're committed to it, then you can go into our business growth program, where this is where we're going to take you through that process. And yes, it is a business growth program, but even if you don't have a business, one of the things that I'm very big on three things. So financial education is one, entrepreneurship is the second one, and ownership or property ownership, land ownership is the third one, because those are the three things combined that's going to help us build our wealth.
And it's a big difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Oh, yes.
It's a big difference. And
I can attest to the fact, that I have rich clients that live paycheck to paycheck.
So it's a big difference. And if you don't know that difference, you're thinking they're both the same, then that's even more so why you need to connect with Chantel, so she can explain to you what the difference is. Because once you start having this financial awareness, quote unquote, I love that, what you use, financial awareness, you're going to understand there's a big difference between wealth and rich.
Yes.
And once you understand that, and she's right, when you first have your finances explored, sometimes you don't even know what to ask for, because you're not accustomed to seeing what needs to be seen. You're not thinking in that kind of mindset. And so when you have someone that is and walking you through, and when they walking you through, I need you to have an open mind. I need you to be just, it might hit you in the gut, like she said, but the best thing that I want you to understand is that you have someone walking you through. You don't have to do it alone. Most people, if they get the information, they have to go at it alone, and more than likely they're not going to complete it. They're not going to do the things in order to, because you're going to get overwhelmed.
Right.
And so I would highly encourage anyone to get with individuals who gonna give you the truth, but also with the truth, be able to structure it and be able to come up with a strategy to help you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and make sure that you get hit what you need to hit, because they know what you need to do. This is not something that a person with no financial education need to be going in at alone.
Yes.
And why you would say that, Chantel? Because Lord knows that's something you don't need to do by yourself. I know from experience.
So I would say the number one reason is because when we do that, and you're going at it alone, you're going to miss something. You're going to make mistakes. And once you make a mistake, one of the things that we have a tendency of doing is beating ourselves up over things, right? And then once we start beating ourselves up over it, then we're going to eventually give up and we're going to stop going. So having someone like me on your side and on your team is, I'm not going to let you give up on yourself. I'm going to let you know what, you made a mistake. You slipped, you fell. But the thing is that we have the ability to get back up so that we can make whatever adjustments need to be made, because now we know that there needs to be an adjustment. So now we're able to make those adjustments so that we can move forward without feeling like that I can't mess up, or feeling like, that I can't make a mistake. So, okay, you started your budget and you didn't do the budget in month one. That is typical, right? But most of the times, because if you don't have the financial education, then you don't know that it's normal to give up on your budget in the first 10 days. That's right? So with me by your side, when you come back the next month and you be like, I didn't follow that, and I'm going to say, okay, no problem. Let's create the next one. Right. And I'm going to keep encouraging you, because until it becomes a habit, we're probably not going to be successful at implementing it repeatedly.
That's true. I agree with you 100%. So with all the information that you have been giving us, and we know that people can follow you on social media. So for those of you who want to follow her, which I know that you do, you go and check her out on that good old Facebook and them social media streets, Chantel Brown Davis, and you'll be able to get some information as well. But you also have a website, iamchantel.com. So on your website, is there a place where people can sign up to sign up for your coaching?
So on the website, there is a place for them to sign up for a consultation, and they can book a strategy session. And then from there, the team will send out information to them for you to fill out. And it's basically like an intake form, because we want to make sure two things: that you are a good fit for us and that we're a good fit for you. Because the one thing about what we do is you have to be ready to take that first step. So maybe you're not ready for the 6-month program, but you have to be ready to explore and take a really, really good look at what your finances look like in order for what we do to be effective.
So you guys make sure to hop on over to iamchantel.com. That's iamchantel.com. Let me spell it out for the ones listening in for the radio and the podcast. That is iamchantel.com. Make sure to go check her out today. And make sure that you like, follow, share, and subscribe, and make sure that you follow her as well on everything that she is doing. If you are a person that's struggling with finances, or maybe you have never even thought about the possibility of getting your finance together, I would say, regardless if you are a business owner or not, you need to get your finance together, even if it's on a personal standpoint.
Right.
This is not something just isolated for entrepreneurs, although we as entrepreneurs, we have to make sure we have that together. But you can't go to your next destination if you don't know the directions on how to get there properly. Okay. Right. And if it's different little things like potholes along the way, you need to know how to maneuver.
Yes.
So that you can get to your destination. And so a financial strategist or advisor, a person who is dedicated to helping people be able to navigate this bumpy terrain successfully, will be able to help you do that. And Chantel, she has made it part of her life's work to make sure that you be able to have that access. Because many times we don't have the access. So now, for all you've been hoping, wishing, and praying, you have problems. You're looking down at that invoice and all the other stuff, and you're like, what am I going to do? And then here's the interview for you.
Right. Right there. Right
so
here.
If there's anything else you would like to tell our peoples, our lovelies here at the Tina Ramsey Show, about any other thing that you have available or anything that you want us to look out for?
So right now, I actually have two books or journals that are going to be dropping on Amazon within the next few days, or at least by next week. One of them, well, there's three really. So one of them is going to be it's called Every Penny Counts. So it is a 30-day journal for you to be able to track your expenses daily. And what we call that is basically creating a reverse budget. Because one of the things that I have found out in my experience is that a lot of times budgets are not effective because we really don't know where our money is going. So we don't know how to effectively budget for that. So this journal, the reverse budget journal, is going to put you on track to track your finances over a 30-day period, where in there you're going to be able to jot down, and it's every penny counts, right? So I don't care if it was 50 cents at the 7-Eleven, you're going to jot that down so that we can see where you're spending your money at. Then every day you're going to do reflection. So you're going to reflect back on today's spending and what can you do. So what did you do happy spending? Or did you do sad spending, right? And sad spending is those things, like I said, when I would go to the mall, right? So that we can see where our money is going. And now we can effectively decide how what is going to be the most effective way for us to budget. And then the second set is going to be a his and her 12-month journal, where it's a guided journal, and I think it's man doing business, a man doing his business and savvy and successful. But it's a 12-month journal where you're going to be able to do weekly prompts. So and it's a guided journal. So it's weekly prompts that's going to take you through 12 different financial scenarios. So for 52 weeks, you're going to answer you're going to answer weekly scenarios. So one may be talking about getting started on a financial journey. Then it might be talking about budgeting. It even goes into talking about planning for your taxes. So when these come out and you start now, by the end of 2024, you should be well on your way to financial freedom, where you have the ability to live life on your own terms. Because again, that is my whole why, my whole reason. So as soon as those drop, again, hopefully by next week, they should be live on Amazon. I definitely will be posting that all over the social media streets. Because again, our goal is to provide with the resources that is necessary for our community to be able to effectively navigate our way to financial freedom.
Love it, love it, love it. And thank you so much for sharing. So again, for all of you listening in and watching, that's going to be watching later on Roku and watching all over the place, listen. And for the ones who just love to just listen to the sound, this Southern twang, I'm going to make sure that you can get this social media. Okay. So I want you to go on facebook.com/Chantel Brown Davis. That's CHANTELLEBROWNDAVIS. And for those of you who would like to just go ahead and just see everything she has to offer in one good old place, you go on over to her holding place, which is her website, baby. That is www.IamChantel.com, and that is spelled IamChantelle.com. Make sure to go check her out today. Chantel, I would like to tell you, thank you so much for coming on and being a featured guest on the Tina Ramsey Show, sharing your expertise. And also, this is one of the few conversations I have had where you made financing fun. And so I can imagine what your strategy session is going to be like. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on, and we can't wait to see what you do in these social media streets, because we're going to be following you.
Yes, come on, come all.
All right, so everybody make sure to check her out. And Chantel, hold tight backstage, and we'll be back with you in a moment, okay?
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, you guys, as you can see, Chantel is a woman at our own heart. She is taking things that finances, taxes, building true legacy, understanding what financial awareness is, and then making the tactical moves, being able to help you strategize your financial freedom that ultimately leads to your financial success, that leaves the legacy that we so desperately want to leave, not just for one generation, but for generations and generations to come. So make sure to check her out on all social media platforms. I want to just say, talk to my lovelies, okay, my lovelies of the Tina Ramsey Show. Listen, I know that it's not always easy for you, and I know that life be lifing, but I want you to know that if no one told you this today, that they love you and that you are special and that you are worthy, I want you to know that I love you and you are worthy. And thank you so much for being one of the best parts of the Tina Ramsey Show, being our supportive community of lovely. So make sure to check us out on all social media platforms, including the amazing CTR Media Network that helps us be able to get into all of your homes, 350 million worldwide. So make sure to check us out, and we will see you guys next week, same time. So until then, I want you to do what? I want you to keep smiling. Thank you for tuning in to the Tina Ramsey Show and podcast, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye.
Listen, if anybody's interested in getting into podcasting, grab this book. Go on Amazon, grab this book. It goes with me almost everywhere. This book has like a workbook. It has places you can fill it in. It tells you how to monetize your podcast. It tells you how to set it up. It tells you about sponsorships. It even, listen, go on Amazon, get this book. And this is the Bible for podcasters. Listen, it was ranked #1 in podcasting books. Look right here. Best new podcasting book by Book Authority. Right there. Boom. And a little secret. Y'all, when you grab this book, I think it's page 43. There is a code on there. Listen, you can get
"2024 Ignite Change Empowerment Virtual Conference." Join us for 3 days on February 23-25, 2024 from 6 p.m. 9 p.m. EST by CTR Media Network. Are you ready to unlock your potential and make a meaningful impact? This is an opportunity to connect with a diverse audience and contribute to breaking down barriers that hinder progress. Support the cause, sponsorship and collaboration opportunities. While the speaker opportunity is free, we are offering limited opportunities for sponsorship, vendor slots, advertisement spots, and welcome donations to support the production of this transformative event. If you represent a media company, business, podcaster, or any organization interested in collaboration, please reach out to info@ctrmedianetwork.com or visit our website at www.ctrmedianetwork.com.
Reverence with you. Now, y'all see Constance Williams. She's a brilliant, Fulbright, Mensa. She's just off the chart. I tell you.
Shout out.
Yeah. She just, She the one. This her.
Shout out to Miss Constance Woolard. Woolard. Can't say Woolard. Woolard.
I dated a ghetto person. I said Woolard. Constance Woolard. And then you hear them say Woolard. Then thank you for putting that royalty on there, like Woolard. And she just got another award for podcast. She getting awards everywhere. I think she just got another award for what do you call it? Honorary doctorate and all that stuff. So,
Yeah, I think it was something with mentorship, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, man, she getting all this stuff. But listen, I'm shout out for now every time we Constance, thanks for giving this opportunity. And
Definitely.
Presidential Award this year. She got all that stuff. Now I'm gonna let y'all know right now. I got a certificate of training that was required by my job. I got that this year. I did. It was a requirement for my job. That's the only certificates I got this year. I ain't want. Now I'm gonna shout out to Daniel before we leave. Daniel he's sneaky, man. Daniel's the same way. Daniel, he got all this stuff going on, man. Shirts, t-shirts, and hats and all. He got a apparel store and all that stuff, and he all on all these channels and all this stuff. And Daniel, man, is hot. And then again, it's me. I'm just glad to be in their presence. And I'm just letting y'all both know.
And we make this it's the dynamic between us, bro. The dynamic between us. I couldn't do it alone, and you couldn't do it alone. It takes both of us to make this thing.
See how Uncle Daniel thing? I just want to let you know that peasant over there on the left, he's a good guy. Thank you, Daniel, man. Thank you. I thank you, Daniel, for just having me. And Constance Woolard.
Constance Woolard. Appreciate. Thank you, really. Thank you for allowing us to have a platform along with you.
Yes. And Daniel J. I don't know what it is. It John or Jesse? I don't know what the J for, but
the J is just the J is. I told y'all the J is for Juggernaut.
Now, the next time we start off, I'm going to spell it for you. I'm going to spell it, and then we're going to start. Okay, Daniel? Now, we're going to sign out with that. Juggernaut. I got it. Nod. Love, peace, and happiness. Every 1975. I do know that one.
I remember that.
All right, man. We're going to sign off. God bless your hearts. Heaven's going to party. We'll be back next week.
God bless you.
What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are. The media network, just the best by far. Whether you're listening at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health and tip. We got it, reaching 350 million. They tuning in. We in 50 different countries. We all can. And like minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network. Start the show.
Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, the host of the Tina Ramsey Show and podcast, powered by CTR Media Network. And today we have an amazing guest for you. When you think of the words creative, passionate, and supportive, these are the words that describe today's guest. She is a registered psychotherapist. She is the founder of Creating Meaningful Consulting Services. She is also a two-time author. And one of the books is very interesting because she co-authored it, get this, with her husband. And her second book is just helping you get rid of those negative thoughts. She is also a mental health advocate. She also educates, and she is on a mission to eradicate the stigma that is surrounded around mental illness. This is a much needed topic of discussion, and I am so happy that she decided to come here today with you. Who is this amazing woman? Her name is Samantha Campbell. Hello, Samantha. Welcome to the show.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
I'm happy that you are here too, because this conversation is near and dear to my heart because of my personal struggle with depression and anxiety over the years. And so growing up in a time where no one really spoke about it, and now seeing so many people like yourself speaking about it, it really gives my heart, it really does my heart well. And I'm glad that you're here. But I know that you're a psychotherapist, but I just want to ask you this, and this is probably, you could probably say this is going to go going left. You're a psychotherapist. You're a very busy woman. So what does a psychotherapist like to do to enjoy in their spare time? Do you have any spare time?
Good question. And I have to make my spare time. I have to make it happen, or else it's just not going to happen. So in my spare time, I like to sing, and I like to draw, and I like to, believe it or not, color.
Oh.
Yeah, they have those self-help adult coloring book.
Yes.
I like to do that. It just clears my mind, and it just sets me in a different mindset.
Well, Samantha, you and I are one and the same, because I have a plethora of different types of self-help coloring books. I find that coloring is very it's very relaxing, and you don't have to always color in the lines. It's very freeing. It's very, very freeing. And so you would think it wouldn't be when you're an adult, but I find it very, very relaxing. So I understand 1000% what you're speaking about, and when I make time to do it. So it's good to know that you, as a psychotherapist, being honest, you have to make time in order for you to have that spare time. But also the realness of you, what you like to do in your spare time. And I would love to see you sing one day, honey.
Yes.
Yes, sing, draw, and color. That sounds like a good spare time to have some fun, to decompress from your day. So what has been your experience becoming a psychotherapist? Was it something that you always wanted to do growing up, or was it something that you developed later on as you became an adult?
I would say it's something that developed later on. I've always been in the field of just volunteering and trying to care for people. And so before I did my undergrad in child and youth care, just because I love working with children and youth. And then afterwards, just volunteering, I was doing my internship and being a program lead with some girls within a at-risk neighborhood. And it was just a creative arts program. And I was just there having fun with them, but the issues that they were coming with was just so great, and I wanted to help them more. Like, whatever I was giving them, the support that I was giving them was okay, but I felt that they needed more. So I'm a person that loves to pray, and I like to dig deep into the word. So I'm like, Lord, I realize that these young girls, they need me. It's not just school issues, but family issues. So I'm like, direct me to a program that I can study to help out these young ladies. So I got inspired to become a psychotherapist. So I did my master's in counseling psychology. And from there, I have to say the journey was not easy, because that's when I found out that's when I had my mental breakdown at the end of school, where it's like it was just one more month for me to go for me to graduate, and there it went. I went crashing in, not knowing what it was, and it left me out. I was supposed to graduate in, say, for example, March, and I didn't graduate until October of that year. So I was off until that whole time, just because of issues with mental illness. And but I kept on going, and I became a psychotherapist. I had to go through the journey of qualifying psychotherapist to become a fully licensed registered psychotherapist. So with much prayer and support from family members and friends, here I am now as psychotherapist. But the journey was not easy, but the benefit of it in the end result was great. So that's great.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you shared your true journey, because many times our truth sometimes is not always pretty. And that's with everybody's life. That's just not with yours. That's with mine as well. And so showing your vulnerability, I appreciate you sharing that with the audience, because you're not just a psychotherapist. You're a person who, as a real person who experienced a breakdown in the fact of all the different things that was coming on you all at one time. And you also mentioned that you didn't understand what it was. If you could go back to identify different things, what was going on with you at that time, what were some things that was different about you during that time that wasn't, you prior to you going through all of these stressful situations?
Well, for one, I would withdraw myself. So that withdrawal piece, and isolation, not wanting to talk to certain people. I was just like family members or friends will text me and they want to hear back from me, or just having my mind race, like just feeling like I'm just locked in my head, not knowing where to go. Just feeling super irritable, restless, to the point where I was just shaking and dropping everything. It seemed like I had seizure, but it wasn't seizure. That's why it was like, okay, what do you have? What is going on? But that's what mental illness is all about. It's not only the physical aspect about it, but it's the internal, what's going on in the mind and the outside appearance as well. So that is why you can't really put a face on mental illness, right? So that's pretty much how I knew that something was wrong.
I have found that everybody's experience with mental illness or breakdown, whatever the correct terminology. Some people don't like the terminology breakdown. Some people prefer different terminologies. So in this interview, we're not trying to trigger or offend anyone. This is just us sharing our true experience with what we experience. We cannot speak on someone else's situation, but how we felt and how we can articulate how we felt. And it's not meant to trigger or offend anyone. It's just our truth. So I appreciate that you were so transparent. And you're right. It does not have a face. And when you're going through your situation and it's new, you don't really know, you don't have anything to gauge or pull from that you can say, okay, this is going on. I know for me, I did experience some of the symptoms that you just explained. I did go through withdrawal. I'm normally a happy, bubbly person by nature. I was more sad, reserved, and I was irritable. It took very little to trigger me, make me upset. And normally I try my best to be more patient, be more understanding. But during that time, nope. Okay. And I noticed that my eating habits change, and they could change from day to day or from week to week. Like sometime I would want to eat everything that I saw. It wasn't good for me. Usually sweets and something salty and sweet, right? And then I noticed with myself, I get to some periods where I didn't even have an appetite at all. I have to remind myself, okay, did you eat today? You need to go in here and eat. And then I also recall when I had dealt with mine, I had moments of insomnia. I'm talking about excessive. I'm talking about up 24 hours. The longest stretch that I could not sleep was like 48 hours, 2 days straight, just up, could not sleep. And then the total opposite, I would sleep all the time. So for me, it was just these ups and downs, being from very mild to moderate to very manic and very extreme. And it could vary based upon whatever it is I was going through at the time, because I didn't understand how to address it. So this conversation is very near and dear to my heart, because I don't want anyone to not go seek help. I know growing up in the South, you just going to therapy is not a conversation. You like, no, you're crazy. What you having a nervous breakdown? What is going on with you? You don't need no therapy. You just need to pray.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. But I learned that certain things you can't pray away. For you, Samantha, did you find that to be true?
Yes, it's true, because you have, like, some people call it spiritually lazy, or you become like, your mind is so clouded that you can't even pick up your Bible or pray. And God understands that, and that is why I wrote my second book, because he himself went through certain journey of that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, why not focus on your mind first, and then after doing that, then your whole physical and everything, you'll be able to be more effective to pray, be more effective to do whatever it is that you want to do, right? So it's not, I agree with you, it's not everything you can pray away, because you're not going to be in that mind frame to get yourself up to pray anyways.
I 100% agree with you. And for a long time before, actually, my husband was the first one. He realized that it was something that was off with me, that was not me. And he started doing research, and he was like, I think you need to go see a therapist. And I was like, oh, I got offended. I mean, I really did. Oh, I was like, excuse you? You know, but anyway, I am so grateful to him and also to God for him nudging me. And literally, he drove me to a local therapist that he did the research on, that our insurance paid for at the time. And he said, and parked the car and said, we're not going anywhere until you go in. And I was like, I know you're joking. Like, for real. Like, I'm not going in there. So I did. The first meeting wasn't ideal because I was a little combative, I must admit, because I was resistant. Mm-hmm. But the second meeting that I went to was such a breakthrough. It was one of the best therapeutic, freeing experiences, having someone that is non-biased, non-judgmental, that is listening to you, and you know that your information is going to remain confidential, and they're there for you.
Yeah.
They're there for you, not family, friends, whatever. They're there exclusively for you, to help you unbag all of whatever it is you're going through, and help you understand the why of why you respond this way, and give you tools on how to be able to go and adjust. And so it's very valuable. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about this topic, because I think this is something that is much needed. And the fact that they're seeing that we're being so honest and transparent, in hopes of all of you that's watching and listening in will have your breakthrough. Okay, this is for you. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment. The Homeschooling Interactive Magazine is a magazine that embraces and celebrates the entire homeschooling experience. Our magazine is different from all the rest because we provide beneficial information and assistance in homeschooling, business, wellness, mental health, resources, and life. We encourage you to pick up a copy of our magazine today on Amazon.com by simply searching the Homeschooling Interactive Magazine. The Homeschooling Interactive Magazine is all about impacting the world through home-based learning, helping to de-stress the homeschooling experience. Get your copy from Amazon today.
Hi, my name is Samantha Campbell, and I am the founder of Creating Meaningful Counseling Services. I'm also a registered psychotherapist, and I specialize in children, youth, and young adults. I like creativity, and that's what I incorporate in my sessions. I like to have clients feel transformation and some form of growth and development.
For anybody that knows Tina, she's all about visibility, she's all about connection, and she's all about helping people create a source of income through monetization. And so again, Tina is just really good at what she does. If you've not connected with Tina, If you've seen her show or heard her podcast and you're thinking about connecting with her, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. As a result of my connections with Tina, she has helped me with recruitment of speakers for my upcoming event. She's also helped me to recruit several authors for a few of the book projects that I have had the opportunity to produce in this past year. And in all, Tina's just a really great person, that she's genuine in helping entrepreneurs in reaching their goals. So again, if you have not connected with Tina, be sure that you do. The Tina Ramsay Show is definitely a great venue for you to connect with other entrepreneurs, to connect with other individuals that are going to be interested in your service or your project. This is Tiffany Bell. Again, you are watching and listening to the Tina Ramsay Show, and I look forward to being able to connect with you.
And just like that, we are back, you guys. And I am so excited and happy that we're having this much needed topic. Today we have in the building, we have the amazing Samantha Campbell, and she is actually sharing her journey, her story as a psychotherapist and the reason why she does what she do. And I think it's very her story and her testimony is riveting in the fact that she's not only a psychotherapist, but she also experienced some of the same experiences that we experience when we experience panic, anxiety, when you're just not feeling right, battling with mental illness. She is an advocate that not only knows the information, but she also have walked in our shoes. So I feel that she has a different approach to her type of therapy because of the realness of the essence of her life story. So let's go ahead and bring her back to the show. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, Samantha, let's go ahead and get right into it. Like I said just now, I feel that your story is unique in the fact that you have your own story, even in the midst of you getting all of the becoming a registered psychotherapist, getting the education, and then you had this period of from March to October, which is about 7 months, where you had your own experience. So do you feel that by you experiencing what we would call mental illness makes you more able to assist individuals and be more sympathetic and empathetic towards individuals because of your experience with it yourself? And how do you use your experiences in your psychotherapy?
I definitely feel like I'm able to relate to my clients a lot better because sometimes I'll have clients come into my session and they'll be like, you don't understand, or you're not gonna believe this or whatever. I don't really have to straight out tell my story, but I could put it in a way to say, you know what, I might not know what you're going through, or I do understand, right? I'm trying to relate to giving them psycho education, because sometimes without people perish for the lack of education, right? So with educating them on the different triggers that they're going through, what does that mean, and creating a more meaningful aspect for them to understand that this does not have to your experience does not have to overwhelm you. It has happened, it's not still happening, so you don't have to dwell in it. You can use it to benefit others.
I agree with you, but I do feel personally, and this is my personal opinion, I feel that what you're doing and the type of experience that you have, and also in the beginning of this interview, you also shared how you have always been a servant leader. You have always been volunteering, helping, and as you've been helping these youth and these teens and these young girls, you realized that you needed to do more. Now, just because you realized it, that don't mean you had to go do something about it. You could have kept doing whatever it is that you were doing because it was effective. But the fact that you took it the next step to this step, it takes a special kind of person. to see a problem, even though they're helping and making experiences and having results, but you knew that they needed more. So hearing those stories, they moved you to action. And so do you want to share anything about that, how it moved you to action?
Just as you said, wanting to do more. Just I wanted to volunteer more. I wanted to because of that also I decided to create my own private practice, because I realized that in my community, being African Canadian, just being Black, it's hard to go to therapy just because it's expensive. Like for me alone, I do therapy too in terms of for my own self, and I find it being expensive. So opening up private practice to be able to meet the needs of my community, not only my community, but other culture as well. It just provides a new avenue, and it's more inclusive.
Yeah, I agree with you. The fact that you created your private practice, which is not an easy undertaking, and you're American and Canadian, so the fact that you and you're right, with our culture being African American, Black, or however ones want to identify in this age and time, whatever you feel more comfortable with, people of color, and so it has been a hard undertaking for us to be able to have this conversation, because for centuries we have been sweeping our feelings up under the rug. We have been taught to just take it and just move on and get over it. That's a popular phrase. You just need to get over it. Sometimes you can't just get over it. You need someone to help you. And so individuals like you who advocate for mental health awareness and also have the resources makes it a win-for-win situation. So my question to you is that you're in Canada. Mm-hmm. I'm in the United States. Some of our viewers, even though we have a global audience, but some of our audience is not in Canada. They're not, they're over here in the United States or in other parts of the country. Do you offer virtual assistance? And if so, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, I do. I offer virtual, whether it be on Zoom or any platform of that sort. And I offer phone counseling as well. So everybody has WhatsApp. So if you're on phone, you go through WhatsApp, or you can just do a straight call. But I do offer virtual counseling. You can just check out my website at www.samanthacampbell.org, or just type in creating meaningful counseling services, and you will be able to see the different services that I offer. And it doesn't matter wherever you are in the world, you can connect. And it doesn't matter your culture, you can connect. So that's the services that I offer. So I definitely encourage persons to just reach out and don't be afraid. It will be worth it.
I thank you for that. And you guys, for those of you who are watching in either on the TV side, online side, social media side, you can actually see her website right now. For those of you who will be listening in on the podcast or the radio later on, that website is samanthacampbell.org. That is samanthacampbell.org, where you can actually see the services that she actually provides, as well as her areas of therapy. She also has resources. You can book her straight from the website. And also she has a very effective blog to also help you on your mental health wellness journey. So make sure to go check that out. With all that being said, you are a volunteer that saw that there was a need for more work to be done. So you took it up with your bootstrap and said, I'm going back to school and I'm going to become a psychotherapist. And now you're a registered psychotherapist. Next, you decided that you're going to start you're going to have your own practice and provide these services, and you're doing it in a unique way where they can also contact you via phone also via, connectability with Zoom or however it is that you guys decide to connect, which is very much needed, which means that you're global. Anybody can contact you, which is a plus. And then lastly, you would think that your table was full, but you decided not to do one, but two books. So let's talk a little bit about your book. And one book is very, very special because you co-authored that book with your husband. So let's talk about that book and why did you decide to co-author a book with your husband?
That was an interesting journey. Because my husband told me, "Oh, you write so much. I think you should become an author." I'm like, I don't know about that. And he's like, "Okay, let's write a book together." I'm like, "You'll be writing that book by yourself." Until he started writing, and then I'm like, "Oh, this guy is serious." And then I'm like, I can't just let him write by himself. So I collaborated with him, and we just put our heads together and saw the need once again to just be able to tell each other's story and be able to just inspire others. So that's where that came from, just because he saw the potential in me, and then he brought it right out. And then from then, it led to my second book, just wanting to just, there it is, our life's journey, and the past, the present, and the future. We explore different topics of marriage. There's a section for youth. There's a section on prayer. There's poetry. There's a little bit of everything for everybody. So the littlest of a child can read it because it's just so inspiring.
And this is your second book.
Yes. So that's my second book. I was just inspired because like, we talk about mental illness so many times, but nobody really define what is it and what are the different struggles. And it has a twist to it too. Like, it has different resources in terms of like self-care. At each chapter it has, I don't want to give it away, but don't
give it away.
You have to go pick up the book because there's so many different resources and self-care tips that you can really use. So it's not just about reading, it's about engaging and being practical in recovering or just refreshing, refocusing, right? So that's me.
Okay, so for the ones that's listening in, let me go ahead and say this title out loud because, our viewing audience on television and online and social media, they have the privilege to see it. But for our listening audience, they only know if we tell them. So we've been talking about this book, Samantha, been sharing the experiences about these books. But what the title is for all our listening people, the title is Our Life's Journey. And this is the book for the past, the present, and the future, written by her husband and herself, sharing their experiences. And I feel that this will be a great book for you to add to your library. And then next, we also have Samantha's book, Samantha Campbell's book, Tell Your Negative Thoughts, Not Now, Lessons for the Mind. So make sure to go pick that up at Amazon.com or go visit SamanthaCampbell.org. That is SamanthaCampbell.org. So Samantha, with everything that you have been doing, you're an author, you're a psychotherapist, you like a psychotherapist that love to sing, draw, and color. You are also an African American that lives in Canada, so you're very diverse. So what's the correct terminology? Afro-Canadian? I don't even know what the correct terminology is for that.
Close to it, but it keeps on changing. So we'll just stick with African.
Because it always changing for us. The name change. I mean, they get ready to change it. What, we're not gonna be African Americans anymore. That's what I heard. They're gonna call us something else. I'm like, what? We just got used to African American. Like, really? Can we just stay one name?
Right. That's why you have to stay true to yourself.
Exactly. I agree. And they can actually get in contact with you for your services and also visit your website at samanthacampbell.org. I want to thank you so much for coming on today's show, sharing your experiences, and also allowing us to have a glimpse into the window of your life and how you're using your experience, your purpose, to inspire and help other people. And your way of psychotherapy, I still say, is very unique because you are addressing how it feels. Many people talk about mental illness and being a mental health advocate. That may possibly be a therapist. However, I like your unique way of delivering the information because you experience this and it makes it a little bit different, and that you explain the feelings of how you felt, and maybe within your description of how you felt or the way that we described it today, how I felt, that someone can say, hey, I'm experiencing that. Maybe I need to give you a call. Oh, yeah, you do. Okay. Okay. So before we go, I do want all of you guys to make sure to go follow her on social media. So you can go and follow Samantha on Instagram. That's www.instagram.com/Sam_CMCS/. You can also follow her on Facebook, Creating Meaningful Consulting on Facebook. You can also visit her YouTube page on Samantha Campbell on YouTube. And let's see what else. You can also visit her on LinkedIn. That is Samantha Campbell, BAMACP. Just look up Samantha Campbell. She'll pop up there. And be able to connect with her and her information. Also, I want to show you a little bit of her YouTube channel real time so that you can see some of the information that she actually has offered for you guys, because she is just not a woman who does the work. She also provides so many different resources for you. So I want you to make sure that you go and subscribe to her YouTube channel, Creating Meaningful Consulting Services, where she's giving you live tips and motivation and educational content that you will be able to enjoy and be able to take advantage of. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and go on over to Samantha Campbell on YouTube. Here it is right there on the screen. So Samantha, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, just don't be scared to go to therapy. You have to be able to listen to yourself, listen to your mind, listen to your body, and it will tell you. Just like how you go to the hospital for treatment for your foot if you have an injury, or just like how you might take Tylenol or Advil for a headache, why not examine your mental health, right? It's just the same. We have no health without mental health, and we are all one. We have one body, and it all function all together. So, don't be scared. You'll thank yourself. Really thank yourself for it.
I 1000% agree with you. And I'm so glad that that day my husband challenged me and said, you going, we're not leaving. That was one of the best decisions that I ever made when I decided to drop the fear and drop the preconceived notions that I had about therapy and actually went in. I have found that when you take care of your mental health first, your body falls into place. Mm-hmm. A lot of our illnesses that we have from a physical standpoint with our body, all these illnesses that we incur over time, is because, in my opinion, it manifests in the head first because we're stressed all the time. Yeah. And that stress can cause heart problems. It can cause blood pressure problems. It can cause all these different things. And so we need to put emphasis on the neck up. For centuries, We have been paying attention to the neck down, but the source is the brain, your mind. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. I went and I'm still going.
Yeah.
And and yes, it's an investment that is worth having, because it's nothing like a peace of mind. Nothing like a peace of mind. So Samantha, thank you for what you do. Thank you for the way that you decided to, I would say, eradicate the stigma surrounding around mental illness. Thank you for being brave enough to share your own story. And I just love the fact that you and your husband came together to write a book together. Now that is unique, and you guys sharing your story. So make sure you guys pick that up from Amazon.com. Let me flash it one more time so that everybody can see it. Samantha Campbell, tell your negative thoughts, not now. That sounds like a TV show in the making. It's our life's journey. So thank you so much for coming on today. And as always, you guys, for all the people who's listening and looking in right now, I know that it's not always easy, but if no one told you today that you're worthy, that you're special, and that you're needed, I want you to know that you are. And I want you to know, if anyone didn't tell you that they love you today, I want you to know that I love you. And until next time, I want you to do what? Keep smiling. I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place on the Tina Ramsey Show. Thank you so much for being a part of our family, our lovelies. See you next week.
Are you ready to skyrocket your podcasting journey? Look no further than The Power of Podcasting by Dr. Tina J. Ramsey. This book is not just any ordinary guide. It's a game changer that offers insider strategies, captivating content creation tips, proven techniques, and monetization secrets. But that's not all. When you purchase The Power of Podcasting, you also receive a complimentary bonus, Dr. Ramsey's sought-after podcast 30 video course valued at $999, absolutely free. It's no wonder this book is a #1 bestseller on Amazon and has been rated one of the top 10 best new podcasting books to read by Book Authority. Dr. Ramsey's expertise and practical advice have earned her acclaim in the industry. So, what are you waiting for? Take the leap and unlock your podcasting success today. Grab your copy of The Power of Podcasting, Unlocking Tips and Strategies for Podcast Success by Dr. Tina J. Ramsey on Amazon, or visit their website at ctrmedianetwork.com. A link will be provided in this episode's description. Your podcasting journey starts here.
Well, you have any closing remarks before we head out?
Y'all, please support the movement of CTR Media Network. I'm telling you, being a part of this amazing media family, I can't go wrong. Right? They have the support. They support us in all that we do. If you have questions, they take time out to advise and mentor. So definitely check out the different plethora of shows that are on the network. I promise you, I'm not saying this because I'm part of the family, but I promise you, you will be uplifted, inspired, educated, motivated, all the good stuff that we all need to carry ourselves out through the day. So definitely go check it out, y'all.
Awesome. I definitely appreciate you.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Brother Jay. Make sure you tune into the Michael Finkley Show on Roku and YouTube.
If I can make it through the night, just to see a brighter side, 'cause I've been working all my life just to make it. If I can make it through the night.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. I'm Michael Finkley. Thank you for joining us. Now, I've always wanted to go into the arena of
radio, television after I graduated from college. But it started with my mama. My mama did radio in our hometown of Mullins, South Carolina for 20 years. 20 years of her life. I would listen to her on the radio and I would say, Mama, can you play this song, that song for me? And this is when we had cassettes, right? I would record the songs and listen to them at my leisure. It was amazing. So I saw how she inspired so many people and I wanted to do the same thing. When I was in college, I did my first internship at Glory Communications in Columbia, South Carolina. I didn't have any airtime, but it was amazing to see the daily operations of a radio station. And after that, I still pursuing education as my number one goal, but also having that niche in the back of my mind of saying radio, television. It was an amazing journey. I had a lot of doors closed in my face. Tell you, a lot of doors closed in my face, but it allowed me to start my own platform, something that I've been wanting to do for years. I sat on this idea of the Michael Finkley Show for years. Didn't know how to get started. Many people telling me to do this, that, and the other. Was scared to do it. So during the pandemic, we launched April 13th of 2020. It was an awesome experience and we were a hit to many people viewing our publications, our platforms every week. It was amazing. It still is. Still having people come out to reach out to you saying, I want to be on your platform, which is an amazing thing. So today I was able to interview two of my influences, more so in the industry. They have been in the industry now for 30 plus years, which is, they know what they're talking about. We have Curtis Wilson of ABC Columbia, and also two radio personality of the Big DM, also in Columbia, South Carolina, and also Les Trent, senior correspondent of Inside Edition. So don't you go away, y'all. In for another treat. We'll be back.
Next, we have Curtis Wilson. Back in a moment. Next, Finkley.
Fitness saved their lives.
Chris Waddy and Del Robinson tell their stories.
Next, Finkley.
Monday.
Hey everybody, my name is author Vernon R. Matthews Jr. I just wrote a new book called Family Ties, and I also want to say a special shout out to one of the kids that I mentored and has got his own TV show on Roku, Michael Finkley, and this is 100th episode. So if you guys want to really hear about this book and see what's going on, check out Mike Finkley on The Finkley Show.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Y'all, my next guest beside me, he is a TV and radio personality and also an officer of the law. We have Curtis Wilson. Thank you for being with us, Curtis.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So I must ask, when did you know and realize the potential of your voice?
Very young age, when a lot of folks would talk about my age. I mean, my voice when I was like a kid growing up in Brooklyn, New York. But then I don't know what happened, but I had this affinity for radio. Always wanted to be a radio personality since I was a youngster up in the projects. Yeah. Mom used to give me the broom, tell me to go sweep up, and I'd be in my room pretending that broom was my microphone as I was listening to the radio. So yeah, it's been instilled in me as a kid.
Wow, what were some of your major influences to be that personality?
Listening to Frankie Crocker, one of my favorites, personalities in New York at WBLS, along with Ken Spiderweb, and then just the love of music. Being a DJ as a kid, I remember didn't have equipment. Grew up in a project, so didn't have a lot of money. And as a kid, we would make our extra money by cleaning up the community center after parties. And in one particular night, we were there, and the DJ didn't show up. So it was like I felt it was my opportunity. And only thing I had in the house, my parents had, was this big stereo that had the turntable, the little turntable in the top. They actually believed in me. They put that big old thing on a dolly, rolled it all the way down the community center. Now in the house is loud, not loud in the community center. But that was my first taste of being a DJ. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. And as life went on, did you even realize that you will be touching the lives of others through your golden voice?
I hear that a lot, but of course with me, I keep my feet planet firm on the ground, don't get the big ego head, and just do what I do because I love doing it. But I do appreciate the folks who, tell me they appreciate what I do, the laughter I bring, or the great information that I give them as well. So I just strive to do the best every single day. Every single day, you have to give them 100% because you never know when it's going to be your last show, or you never know what you're saying, how it affects other people. So that's why I always try to keep it positive.
Gotcha. Definitely. And through that positivity and through you being humble, you have been successful in your own right. What type of success have you seen in these many years in this industry?
Well, for me, being able to be in radio for as long as I've been at DM just over 30 years, but I've been in radio itself probably over 45 years now. So it's been a long time in the business doing radio. And the doors just continue to open up. When you have a great personality and great positive attitude, people like that and they gravitate. And so here it is. I was doing radio here in Columbia, never did TV before in my life. And the general manager calls me out of the blue to ask me if I'm interested in doing that. That opened up the door. And then being on television, kept showing African-American faces on TV. And I felt it was also my duty to try to do something to combat that, which is why I crossed over also into law enforcement. And Sheriff Lott welcomed me as well. So the doors just kept opening up. And then the opportunity doing what I do, being out in the public, University of South Carolina calls me to say, hey, we want you to be a part of our athletics program to create fun in the atmosphere and the energy on court. So the doors just kept opening up. So to me, those were the blessings of doing what I do every day.
That is amazing. Amazing. Oh my gosh. And as we said before, you have been a mentor in my mind. I've always wanted to go into radio and television. My mom was in radio for almost 20 years in our hometown of Mullins, South Carolina. And when I got to Allen University, my last year, I actually did an internship at Glory Communications right there in Columbia. And it was just amazing. It was just an amazing thing. And so when doors were always closed in my face to the industry, I'm like, I'm just going to start my own platform and bring it my way. So in my mind, you've always been that driving force for me. And I want to say thank you. And when you said yes and saying you will talk to me, I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. I appreciate it too. No doubt about that, And also too, real quick, I also have to give big shouts to Benedict as well, because Benedict also opened doors for me, not only, to do the athletics side of things, but also the academics, because I never went to college. I was able to do radio and television without a college degree. And Benedict offered that to me. And I was able to go to classes while doing radio and TV and being physically in those classrooms. It was a tough time, but of course, I believed in myself. I believed in family, and I also believed in God. God wasn't going to put, more on my shoulders than I can handle, but just stayed the course and was able to accomplish that mission too. So big shouts to Benedict.
Benedict College, HBCU love over here. That's what it is. That's what it is. Wow. And as you were talking, you remind me of the scripture, a man's gift will make room for him. God will qualify you. So you are an example and a definition of that. So, wow, that just is amazing to hear and so inspirational. And so as you talked about your time in law enforcement as well. Is this something that you always wanted to do as well? Or was there another opportunity for you?
Yeah, for me growing up, I wanted to be either a lawyer, radio personality, or get into law enforcement. Now, I didn't become a lawyer, but I do debate a lot. But I was able to accomplish my dreams of being on TV and my dreams of being in radio. So when I go out and I talk to these youngsters, I tell them, no matter where you come from, it's within you. You're capable of accomplishing your dreams. Nobody can stop you from doing that but you. I mean, my GPA was low out of high school. Again, grew up in the hood, didn't have much. But accomplishing these goals, just staying the course and staying focused and not letting anything or anyone deter me. That's what people need to understand when you're young and you try to find yourself. That's all you got to do.
Another driving force. You keep that personal success where you see yourself in the future. And so what's next for Curtis?
I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach at Benedict. So I have my degree, but I need that master's in order to really teach. And, when you stop going to school, it's tough to pick up and go again. But, but maybe an adjunct professor or something like that. Or, you know, to me, when people call me or they send me messages and ask me about getting into broadcasting and so forth, I'm teaching them that way as well. May not have that degree, but I do reach out and I'll let them know any knowledge that I have, because what I have, I can't take with me. So why not share it? You know, so yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And that is another form of teaching, as you said. You don't need, as God has proven to you time and time again, you don't need that piece of paper. You have the experience, and that door will open up for you because you have a made up mind and wanting to do that. What type of advice would you give to those wanting, that are seeing you right now and saying, I want to be just like him? What would you tell them?
I want them to be better than me. You know, go that extra step to do something that no one has done, because we always talk about, you know, break out of that square and the whole 9 yards and this and that. But to me, be you, but learn from others. See what others are doing, take it in, and then make it better, and take it and make it your own. Because in radio right now, as you know, it's changed a lot. You got syndicated radio, you got voice tracking, you got it's just a whole bunch of, it's just totally different. So for somebody who wants to get into radio and be that radio personality, you can't just say that was as far as the song was, or tell me about the weather. You got to be able to tell me something that's going to capture me and make sure I'm being entertained by what you're saying. So go that extra step, do your homework. I show prep every single day, sometimes twice a day, because I want to make sure that whatever I'm saying is going to be interesting to you. And that person who wants to get into this business they have to be hungry. They have to be willing to go that extra mile to put that work in, so that therefore they don't sound like somebody across town. They don't sound like somebody who's next door. They want to be them, but be creative, be entertaining. Make me feel like I'm gonna miss something if I don't listen to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. And where can they see you or even hear you?
Well, of course, I'm on the Big D. I'm 101.3 FM in Columbia, and I'm on 6 days, 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. And then I'm also on in Greenville at 107.3 Jams, and I'm there on Saturdays from 2 to 6. And then on television, Monday through Friday, you can catch me on ABC Columbia Channel 25, 5 to 7 a.m. And then with Richland County, you might see me anywhere.
Just about all about. Oh, wow. Wow. What can I say? Y'all, is Curtis Wilson. Thank you for being with us and sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and your experience through your words. Thank you.
Thank you for what you do, and keep doing what you do, because trust me, somebody's listening, somebody's watching, and they're taking everything that you do to heart. And that's a great thing. So God bless you.
Thank you so much. Back in a moment.
Coming up, Les Trent. Back in a moment.
Hi, my name is Ashley Bates. I'm formerly from Nickelodeon's All That. You can catch me on the Michael Finkley Show on the Roku TV and YouTube.
She is flexible, and she is a multitasker. She is a wife, a mom. She is city councilwoman.
When I was growing up, Mom worked outside the house, and so my dad was an entrepreneur. I saw him leaving early in the morning or late at night to go meet with clients, and he was always one who told me, if you show up on time, you're late.
I just admire how she's able to not only juggle the demands of her jobs, but keep her family really first.
The outstanding thing about the Isaac family is their noble contributions to improving the quality of life for our Colombians and people all over the state.
I
Tamika Isaac, do solemnly swear.
discharge the duties thereof, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and best wishes.
I first ran because I saw a need. I saw a void that needed to be filled, a voice that wasn't there. And over the last several years, I feel like I've been able to be that voice.
So often as women in whatever spaces that we're in, we're often discounted because we're a mom or we're a wife or we have this career, and she's an everyday woman who shows women what excellence looks like.
She has walked the walk of being a small business person, of being a parent, of sending her kids to school.
Columbia is a great place, and we have done a lot in the last few years as far as law enforcement. But law enforcement can't do everything, nor should it do everything. We have to really expand upon the tools, technology, and community policing, investing in our communities so that law enforcement is a partner with our communities. Being a Columbia native, I've seen the way this city has grown. It's grown to the point that sometimes not everybody's been a part of that growth. I want to make sure that communities, specifically communities of color, make sure that they are part of Columbia's present and its future. I want to have a climate plan for this city that not only helps us be sustainable, but also helps provide opportunities for folks in the workforce. There are so many opportunities to take advantage of technology, green energy. I want to be the advocate for growing our city and being on the forefront, not just looking at what other cities are doing and following them, but being the leader.
If you don't have the right leadership, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities.
I think having a woman as mayor of the city of Columbia is long overdue.
I'm Tamika Isaac Devine, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Columbia.
Need a little motivation? Timothy Clifton is with us every week on Mondays to get your week started with a little motivation, all here on The Michael Finkley Show.
Hey, welcome back to The Michael Finkley Show. Now, my next guest, I know you've probably seen him before. He is a Emmy-nominated senior correspondent of Inside Edition. He is Les Trent. With us today.
Thanks, Michael. Virtual high five.
Virtual high five, sir. It is an honor to be in your presence, sir.
Pleasure talking to you, Michael.
Like I was telling you before, I grew up watching you literally with my grandparents, watching the stories leading up to Inside Edition. I still watch it on YouTube as well and all that kind of good stuff. So, Les, when did you actually know that you had a voice as a gift?
Wow, I was very young and I was always on stage doing something, whether it was reading something at an assembly or singing in church. I always wanted to be on stage. But when I got to high school, I really thought that I was going to be an architect because I also loved drafting. And I had a drafting teacher in the 10th grade, and I'm like, listen, this is what I want to do. And he looked at me and he goes, you know, there's no money in architecture. Now, I think he told me that probably because I was not very good. So that's what I said. Oh,
that's a
you know what? I'm going to pursue then what I really want to do. I said, I'm going to pursue journalism. And you know, I took a year off from after high school and before I went to college. And there were people who said, don't do it. It's a mistake. You'll never go. But I said, I am absolutely going to college. Mm-hmm. And I did. I grew up in Canada. I'm half Canadian. My mother was Canadian.
Really?
So yeah. I went to college.
Facts.
Yeah, I went to college in Toronto, Seneca College. And I was lucky because I'm half American. So mm-hmm. My father was American. My mother was Canadian. And we lived in a border town at Buffalo. So Buffalo was on one side. Fort Erie, where I went to high school, was on the other side. And when I graduated from college, I went back to Fort Erie for a couple of years, and I got a job at the newspaper in Fort Erie, Canada, and at a radio station in Buffalo. So I would go back and forth across the border every day. And it just sort of went from there. I was lucky enough to have some great mentors along the way. Again, I always knew that I wanted to be on television, but I had no problem starting off in radio. I loved radio. I'd be there today if it worked out that way. It would have been fine by me. And I did. I worked at 3 or 4 radio stations. I worked at a black radio station in Buffalo. You know what the call letters are? WBLK. They've been around. That's right. Anyone watching from Buffalo, they know WBLK is still around. They are a powerhouse. Oh. So I worked there. I worked at a couple other stations, and then I finally got into television, behind the scenes as as an associate producer, and I just, I would go out with reporters every once in a while and steal their tapes and put a tape together, and I got on air from there.
Wow. So when was in your mind, when was your big break? When did you say, I think I can do this for real?
Well, it was after I started as a weekend producer. First of all, my job was I was a associate producer. So my job was to sit down with the producer every night. He or she would give me a bunch of stories to write, and I'd have to write them, go in with the editor, and that was my job as an associate producer. Then they made me the weekend producer, which meant I was in charge of 4 shows. So I was in charge of the 6 and 11, both Saturday and Sunday. And I was this young kid, fresh out of radio, fresh out of college. And I had to do everything. So I had to tell the assignment editor what I wanted covered. I had to write most of the show. It was a skeleton staff. Yeah, it was crazy. And I had to back time the show to 30 minutes. So I had this good friend. He was a sportscaster named Brian Blessing. And if I ever came up short, because it's hard to write 30-minute show, right? I mean, the only other thing you have is weather and sports. That's and everything else was on me. So this sports guy named Brian Blessing, I would say to him, Brian, I need you to fill like 2 extra minutes tonight. And he's like, I got you. And he was so good. And that's another, you learn from people like that, because I would watch him. He would write out maybe 3 words, and then he'd have a producer who would put all the highlights together, and I would watch him, and he'd be just like this. He'd be looking at the screen. He'd be looking down at the monitor. He'd be doing this. And he was like, it was a work of art. It was amazing. So I learned from people like that in Buffalo. And Buffalo was such a small town that, you got to do everything. You had to do everything. Right. You had to. We weren't shooting. Reporters didn't shoot back then, but we did have to go out and we went out with a camera person, and we had to sit there for hours of recovering a court case, and then you'd have to come out and you'd have to somehow regurgitate what just happened in court and do a live shot, and it was like trial by fire. But I learned everything I really need to know in Buffalo. And you asked the question when I think I got my big break. My big break really was finally getting on the air, because I would say to them, listen, I really want to be a reporter. And they go, well, we don't have an opening. We like where you are. And then I got a job offer from across town. And so they put me on air as a reporter like 3 days a week, and I was still producing the weekends. And then I got another job offer from across town to be the weekend anchor. And I was like, okay, I got to go. So I went across town. There was, in weekend anchor, it was also tough because I did the 6 and 11. And I had a Black female co-anchor. We were the first all Black anchor team in Buffalo. It was me and my good buddy to this day, Sandy White. And we co-anchored the 6 together, and I anchored the 11 solo. So there were many times where after the 6 o'clock news, I would go out with a camera guy and shoot a story. And I'd come back and I'd write it. And sometimes I would edit it myself. And we had this working newsroom, which was crazy because you'd be sitting here like this, and the edit room is right there. And the control room's over there. So you're sitting there, and you could actually, there were times where you'd be reading the lead story, and you can see, because I can see behind me right now, you would see that the editor is running the tape into the control room. So you're like, should I stall now before we get to it, or should I start the newscast on page 2? So all of that craziness was just great training, because once when you do all of that, then when you get to a market like San Francisco, where I went next, you don't do half of that. So everything's like a cakewalk from there.
Imagine so.
Yeah,
that is a lot.
Oh yeah, it was insane. It was insane.
Wow.
But I love it.
And all of that experience, I'm sure, helped you to where you are now. We know you're from Inside Edition. How did that come about for you?
Well, when I was in San Francisco, you talk about how you used to watch the show with your mom, and I also loved the show. And it came on after our newscast in San Francisco. I worked for a TV station called KPIX, and it came on after us. And at the time, it was the story about the Long Island Lolita, Amy Fisher. Remember, Amy Fisher was the one who shot her lover in the face. Yeah. So I would watch that every night after our newscast, and I'd be sitting there like this. What? This is insane. So then I get this phone call from the producers of Inside Edition, and they go, "Hey, we are starting a sister show called American Journal. Would you like to come aboard?" And I'm like, "Sure." And it was a little bit different from Inside Edition because we did longer form stories. Our stories were about 7 minutes long. Our show would only have 3 stories in it. And when I traveled, I would be gone for a week, and I would come back with 10 tapes. And we had such a huge staff back then. I would take those 10 tapes to a tape library. Someone in the library would transcribe everything on that tape. So they would say, okay, shot 1 is a dog walking down the street. And then they would transcribe the entire interview. And then when I went to sit down to write my story, all I had to do was look at the transcript, see where my sound bites were, see where my video was, and then write it from there. None of that exists anymore. First of all, reporters barely write anymore for a syndicated show because we do so many stories in a day.
Right.
That I'm shooting something, I'm sending it back to the studio. I can even voice my stories now from home or even from the car. I've got a microphone, and it's got an audio interface that goes into my iPhone. And you could do it on a busy street, and it's broadcast quality. So that has changed everything. And we do it a lot more now because of COVID, in fact, because we were doing 90% of our work from home,
right,
or on the road. What I do now is I rent a car every week, and I drive and meet my camera crew wherever I have to meet them. And the producer will send the stuff back to the office. Everyone's working from their own home. So the producers at their house, the editors at their house, there are a few people as a skeleton staff in the office, the people who are putting the show together. And we all sort of just do our thing at home and send it into the server. Then it somehow gets done. It's insane.
But teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
All working together.
I say that every day.
All working together. I love that. And so being in this industry for over 30 years, how many times have you heard no?
Well, in what respect? I mean, we talking
in the
about
respect of you wanting to gain, I guess, that next level of success that you see yourself in, or even in starting off to get to where you are at this point.
That's a great question. You know why? Because I think when I was anchoring in Buffalo and I had an opportunity to go to San Francisco as a reporter, I knew that once I got to San Francisco as a reporter, that I would probably never anchor again. And it's only because news directors see you in a certain way. If you come there as a reporter, it's not as easy to go then to become the main anchor. Not for those of us of color, because we get pigeonholed. There's only so many of us who can be the anchor. There are only so many of us who can be the general assignment reporter, and I certainly encountered that. So I think the biggest no I got, and it was wanting to get back to the anchor desk, and again, it was just the opportunity in their mind never came up. So what I chose to do instead of first of all being down about it or wanting to go to a smaller market and start over as an anchor, I just said, you know what? I'm going to be the best darn reporter that I can be.
Right.
And so I gave up that idea that I wanted to be behind the anchor desk, and I think it's suited me better anyway, only because I would be bored out of my mind. I just love being in the field. Every day is different. I swear, Michael, there are days where I don't know 1 minute to the next who I'm going to be interviewing.
Right.
Someone will call me from the assignment desk and say, we have an interview with this, this Olympian gold medalist, and I'm like, oh, okay, who is it? And here I am. I'm like, let me do some research, and I don't have time to talk to a producer about what they need from this person. So that experience just comes in where you just know, okay, we're talking about Simone Biles, so I know that I need to talk about what it's like psychologically to sort of lose that edge, or to not have the confidence, and how do you get over that? And so it's it's again, all of that stuff comes from the craziness that I encountered in Buffalo, from flying by the seat of my pants.
Wow. You mentioned earlier about you being a person of color in this industry, the good, the bad, the ugly. I know you probably heard and seen it all. Mm-hmm. How has it been for you in these 30 years? And in your experience, has it gotten better?
Oh, has it gotten better? Better. I think we talk about it less today than we did back when I started.
Really?
Yeah, we do, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because
Wow.
because if you look around the landscape, if you look at all the markets around the country, you will see a lot of us, and a lot of us anchoring in towns that are predominantly white, and anchoring in more suburban places. But of course, if you're just starting out, it is difficult. I'm trying to figure out whether or not it's more difficult now than it was when I started. And the reason I put it that way is because, as I said to you before, there's so many avenues now to get noticed online.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a lot of young Black stars and people in local news who really are doing incredible stuff. It wasn't that easy for me when I was first starting out, because I think there was more of a thing about, like I said, there's going to be, one anchor, one Black reporter. There was an old friend of mine who before I actually knew her, called me up because she knew I was anchoring in Buffalo on the weekends, and she had been offered a job anchoring on the weekends. And I said to her, well, I would take the job. I said, just know this. I said, you're going to leave this job as a weekend anchor, because I know how the market is in terms of, promoting people of color to the main anchor job. And unfortunately, I was correct. So I have over the years encountered that sort of quota system. And, I've always belonged to, I've always tried to belong to, the Black organizations in town, because we lifted each other up. We would always tell people about jobs that were coming up, or things that we knew about, or if we were leaving, we would tell somebody because we knew that they could come into that job. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience, and I think when it comes to being a Black person in the newsroom, the biggest impact, I think, is just on the decision making. You have to always speak your voice. I do. The Black producers I work with do. We will always say something is not is not right. And it's not bad intentions from the people who don't get it right. It's just lack of knowledge. It's just a lack of experience with other cultures. I always say that I'm bilingual. I could speak between the lines of what someone says in a script, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, we can't say this shit. Excuse my French. So I think I've always tried to use my minority status to educate. Has it been hard? There have been some hard times, yeah. Not as hard for me as for others, only because I got lucky in that I found something that I love and I didn't have to do a lot of moving around. I've only moved twice for work, in 30 something years, 2 or 3 times. But I mean, I moved around this area, but it was still in the same job. Yeah. So I think I've been fortunate that way, that I didn't have a lot of, like some of my friends had a more difficult time moving from place to place, or losing their job and trying to find another. I lucked out, and I'm extremely lazy, and so I just stayed.
I'm extremely lazy. Well, we know that now, Les. We know that now. Oh, wow. So through it all, you told me earlier that you speak with a lot of students that want to pursue the things that you have done and what you're doing now as a journalist. What encouraging words would you say to these students? Even persons that are watching now, they're saying, I want to be like them.
I would say this. I had so many people growing up friends' parents who would say to me, and teachers, this is unrealistic. You're never going to do it. And I was never, ever, it never bothered me when I heard that, because I always knew that this was what I wanted to do. And I say to students all the time, if you are absolutely certain this is what you want to do, you will find a way to do it. And again, I think that you have so many more opportunities today than we did back in the day to get your face in front of somebody. For us, back in the old days, to get your face in front of somebody, you had to, send them a physical tape through an agent and do all these things. I see stuff online all the time with people who have put together their own sizzle reel. And, imagine the advantage of putting that sizzle reel together and being able to email it to somebody over having to send a physical tape through an agent or something like that. And I'm not saying that agents are not a good thing. I think agents are great when it comes to getting your first job. But don't do it unless you've got a good polished tape together. I don't care where it comes from. If it's something that you did from college or something you do on your own. And that's another thing that you can do today that we never thought about doing back in the old days, and that is shooting your own story. If you were out there in the street and you come across some crazy accident or some sort of police misconduct and you're shooting video, shoot a stand-up, write a script, make a story. And you never know also in this landscape who would pick it up, what news entity might pick it up. So just work it like a job. Putting that tape together, just work it like a job.
Wow. And that's advice for me too. I appreciate that. Thank you. Y'all, he is my good friend now. He is Les Trent. Thank you for being with us and telling us your stories and your experience in your words. Thank you.
Michael, it's a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Back in a moment.
How you doing? This is Brad Butler II. I need you guys to tune in to the Michael Finkley Show on Roku TV via the Greater Works Network, or you can jump on YouTube and catch us there. All right, see you guys later.
Calling all TRIO, Gear Up, JAG, and other college readiness organizations. Hello everybody, it's Finkley with the Finkley Experience. I am here to offer you information about our college readiness cohort series. This college readiness series includes college applications, SAT, ACT prep, scholarships, financial aid, the mental mind state, HBCU versus PWI versus technical colleges, and so much more.
You know, this is helpful because it's actually like making me change my college plan.
Really? If you're interested, visit our website, thefinkleyexperience.com, or just email us at michael@thefinkleyexperience.com. We're looking forward to working with you. Next Finkley.
Fitness saved their lives.
Chris Waddy and Del Robinson tell their stories.
Next Finkley.
Monday.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I do hope that you got something from the show, especially if you're aspiring to be in the field of communications or journalism broadcasting. This was a show for you. Thank you so much to our guest, Curtis Wilson, and also Les Trent for taking time out of their busy schedules to chat with us here at the Michael Finkley Show. Thank you so much. On the next Michael Finkley, we have two individuals where they say that fitness saved their lives. Fitness saved their lives. Their stories are incredible. We have Chris Waddy and also Del Robinson, another show you don't want to miss. If you're not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Michael Finkley Show. Ring that bell for notification. We'll see an email saying, hey, new content's uploaded. Please listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Visit our website, our newly designed website, michaelfinkley.com. And also, you have that Roku TV, right? At the Greater Works Network, and you get to see our show on that network every Monday, every Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you miss us, we're on demand too. Thank you so much for watching, and guess what? We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
The Finkley Experience, an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education and which prepares high school students for college. For more information, visit their website at thefinkleyexperience.com. Fathers to Father Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that strengthens families through father engagement with a goal to help men in our communities to be great dads. For more information, visit their website, fathertofatherinc.org. Ablaze Entertainment. The goal of Ablaze is to take emerging artists and develop them to the next level of their career. For more information, visit their website at ablazeentertainment.net. Thank you. Hey Think Fam, it's your favorite host, Michael Finkley, and you can listen to us on CTR Media Network. Go listen in. It's finally here. My brand new single, Biggest Dream Come True. Now available on all streaming platforms.
Hi, I'm Eric Hansen, actor, producer, and director, and you are watching The Michael Finkley Show.
On the next Michael Finkley, co-founder of E! Entertainment, Larry Namer is here. He gives us in-depth information about how he got started in this business, how he was able to start a network today now worth millions of dollars. He talks projects, future plans, and so much more, Think Fam. Next Finkley.
There's a new familiar face this time. Say hello to the new daytime. See it everywhere you go. Doing the greatest show. It's no other than the Michael Finkley Show. There's no other. He's like no other. I'm so glad that someone resonates with me.
Everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Now, y'all, my next guest, I know you know who he is. He is the man himself when it comes down to entertainment, the co-founder of E! Entertainment. He is Larry Namer. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
You are so welcome. Again, thank you for just being with us these few moments, because I feel my viewers can learn something from you. I can learn something from you, and hopefully in the midst of you talking, you're like, oh, I didn't realize that about myself. So I'm ready to have the conversation.
Well,
So again,
if you stay around long enough, you end up having made all the mistakes and they're behind you. So hopefully you learn from them.
that's the goal, though. That's the goal, is to learn, right? That's the goal, is to learn. So let's go all the way back, Larry, all the way back there to New York. How did your upbringing in New York shape the person we see today as this mogul in entertainment?
I grew up in Brooklyn before it was trendy Brooklyn. The area I grew up in is still considered the hood, Coney Island. Um, it's a rough neighborhood, but you know, we were poor, but we didn't know it because we all were the same. And it was a great time to grow up there because it truly was a mixed neighborhood. You know, and we didn't really think of like, oh, this guy's black, this guy's Puerto Rican. You know, it was just we all played in the street together. So it was a great time to grow up there. And what's interesting, I ended up going to high school, public high school there. And, you know, it was the neighborhood school, not a special school or anything. And it's very strange that to this day, it's the #1 school in America for turning out Nobel Prize winners, which is crazy. So on that hand, you had Nobel Prize winners. On, you know, then the other side, you had, you know, people that got into entertainment like myself. Lou Gossett Jr. was the neighbor across the street. Neil Diamond went to the school. You know, you name it, they all kind of came out of there. And you know, the commonality is we were all children of World War II parents. Most of us were the children of immigrants. And you know, growing up as a kid of an immigrant those days was like, you're going to succeed or I'm going to beat it out of you. You know,
Yeah, no choice.
My parents were tough and stuff, but you know, not abusive tough and whatever. They just wanted the kids to have a better life than they did, and they were going to push us and stuff. So that's kind of the common thing. So that's where I grew up, and I ended up going to school in Brooklyn, and I was the first kid in the family to go to college. Certainly the first kid to graduate, and you know, I ended up getting a degree in economics, and I was going to teach history, but the New York City school system and I didn't see eye to eye on what history really was. You know, they wanted me to teach their version, and I didn't believe their version. So we parted ways, thank God. And, you know, I took what I thought was going to be a kind of a mindless temporary job. Somebody said we just organized, unionized this thing called cable TV. I'm not quite sure what it is, but, you know, go see this guy. And so they gave me a job splicing cables in the sewers of Manhattan. Wow. I wasn't even the real splicer. I was the assistant to the splicer. And I think I was the only person with a college degree in the company then. And so literally every day I would go under the streets of New York with the roaches and the rats and put wires together, and you know, $90 a week and stuff like that. But I loved it. I thought it was a great job. And you know, so that's kind of my introduction to the cable TV world. And then, you know, I really started to go, wait a second, this could be really cool if they do it right. And the company got bought by Time Incorporated. Time was a magazine company at that time. And, you know, this was way before Time Warner. And they decided that they wanted to spend 10 years migrating themselves from being a publishing company to becoming a media company. So it was time to be there because it was kind of the beginning of it all. And so I got put into what was called the video group. And, you know, I don't know, maybe there were 10 of us in the video group. I was by far the youngest. And, you know, by that time I had rose to become the director of operations. So I went from under the sewer system to the director of operations.
That's a big leap, Larry.
Yeah, and I was like 25 years old, and I was director of operations of Manhattan Cable, the biggest cable system in the U.S. And I think I had like 305 people report to me, all of which were older, which was an interesting dynamic.
I could only imagine.
And, but you know, it was a great time to be there because it was like when we started home box office and Cinemax and using satellites. Nobody ever used satellites before. This guy, Jerry Levin, who was part of the video group, who ran HBO, said, "Oh, we're going to do satellites." And we all looked at him and go, "What the hell are satellites?" You know? And, yeah, but HBO took off and urban cable took off. And, you know, that was kind of where I grew up there. And I ended up spending my 10 years there. And I was the director of corporate development. And I was supposed to find new and inventive uses of cable television other than just providing good, silly programming.
Right.
And it was great. So, you know, even before the internet, I was doing data communications and, you know, remote medical diagnostics, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And so that kind of opened my mind up to like what all the possibilities were.
Wow. Wow. So you use what you learned to establish what you wanted to in the future.
Yeah, you know, it was a great training ground because it was very corporate. So, you know, they were all Harvard and Yale's. And, you know, so it was very corporate discipline. So I really learned about financing and money and managing and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, because I was so young and in, you know, such a visible position for them, they were always worried that I might say the wrong thing to the press. So they made me go through media training pretty extensively.
Really?
And, which was great because it kind of got me comfortable. I mean, I could talk now to one-on-one, I could talk to 5,000 people. It doesn't affect me whatsoever. And you know, that was a great thing to learn. But then what happened was I got my 10 years in and I said, oh my God, I'm going to invest in the pension fund. And I'm like 30 years old. I said, there's got to be more to life than this. And it was just then that all the big cities were thinking about cable now because they realized it was more than just good reception. And there was a company that won the franchise for Los Angeles. And but the caveat that they had was they got the franchise, but they had to build it underground, not on telephone poles. Well, all the cable systems in the country were all built on telephone poles except Manhattan Cable. So they had no choice but to like find me and say, come out here. And, you know, and I was just an arrogant, you know, son of a bee at that point. And I just said, look, I'm a Brooklyn kid. I don't come to La La Land. I'm not doing that. And they finally just said to me, they go, well, what would it take to get you to move? And I just named like 4 times what I was making. And they went, that's absurd. That's ridiculous. No. And I went, yeah, okay, cool. Bye. Adios. And, but then, you know, a few weeks later, they did call back. And it was like a cold winter and, you know, living in New York. And, you know, it's beautiful the day it snows, but the day after it's all black gook. And, you know, cab comes by and splashes like cold snow all over me. And yeah, I was just going, what am I doing here? You know? And then they called and said, look, what you asked for is ridiculous, but how fast could you get out of here? And I went, okay. And, you know, I just literally walked into my boss then, Manhattan Cable, and said, you know, I'm done. I'm out of here. Look at me. I'm covered in shit. And he said, come on, you want a new office chair? What do we need to do to keep you? And I went, there's nothing. I said, unless you can provide me sunshine 360 days a year, I'm gone. I'm out of here. And
Wow.
I literally packed up and left and went. And, you know, it was kind of interesting because, you know, Manhattan, I was in charge of all the, you know, the technical operas, construction and installation and service and all of that stuff. But I didn't have programming. I didn't have finance or whatever. But when I came out to California to build Valley Cable, first, it was the first 61-channel two-way cable system ever built in America. You know, and again, I was the ripe old age of 30. And, you know, they basically handed me a franchise paper and said, here's what you got to build. And by the way, here's the credit line with Toronto Dominion Bank. Have fun. See you. And they disappeared. And, you know, literally, all the company, including legal and everything, reported to me. So I had to grow up really fast.
Very quickly. Wow. Wow, but you did it though. You did it.
Yeah, I did it.
Of
And,
course.
you know, sometimes it's better not to be so smart and, you know, to figure stuff out. And, a lot of it is just my street sense and stuff. So we very quickly became, Forbes magazine named us as the national model for cable programming because we were just doing innovative stuff because we didn't know we were supposed to do it a different way. So the stuff we were doing was very different than, what other folks were doing. And we got a lot of recognition for it. We won Emmy Awards and ACE Awards and stuff like that. So again, it was fun.
I see. I can tell it was fun because look at the product we have today that we're still viewing and we're still watching. It's still monumentous in this industry. So entertainment, right? As you began to build this amazing industry, did you know that you were breaking grounds on so many different ways?
The answer is yes. My partner, Alan Marufka, who's my friend from New Jersey, when the company that I worked for sold out and they decided to go back to Canada, they wanted me to go to Toronto. And I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. I had to go from Brooklyn to LA to go to Canada. I said, I'm done with snow. I'm staying here. So I said, Alan and I were saying, okay, let's come up with something that, keeps us here. And, when you're a Brooklyn kid and you're in LA, everybody's going to parties and premieres and actors and actresses and making movies. And, and we just said, you know what? There used to be the weather on TV. So at 11:25 at night, you would watch the weather to find out what you needed to wear tomorrow. And then all of a sudden the Weather Channel came, 24 hours a day of weather, anytime you wanted it. And news, the news used to be on at 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock. And then CNN came and you had news anytime. We said, all these people that love this Hollywood stuff, why do they need to get 15 seconds on Entertainment Tonight when we could create a whole channel? So we basically said, let's do MTV of the movies.
Wow. Wow. Again, I think about when you're speaking about this, right? It was just something, I feel like it was just an idea, right? Idea that it came to mind and you were like, let's just do it. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, it turned out to be a lot harder than we thought. We thought it was such a great idea. And everybody we talked to said, yeah, that's a great idea, but you're not Rupert Murdoch. You're not Ted Turner. People don't wake up and start TV channels. Nobody's ever done it before. And why should we believe you two guys will do it? And we weren't smart enough to listen. And at that time, the going kind of cost to start a TV network was somewhere between $60 and $100 million. I mean, now it's way higher.
Of course.
But, it took us 3.5 years and we didn't raise 10 cents. And then we realized there was nobody out there going to give us $60 or $100 million. And then we met someone who turned us on to a banker on Wall Street who had just gotten his job in investment banking. And he was looking for deals. And we met with him and he's like, oh, I love this. I used to be the entertainment reporter for my college newspaper. And we were like, yeah. He goes, I'm going to do this deal. And I was like, okay, great. Could you give us more like the 100 million than the 60 so we could do all the things we really want to do? And he went, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm only allowed to sign for 2.5. I went, well, what are we supposed to do with 2.5 million? It costs like minimum 60. And he goes, I'm only allowed to sign for 2.5. Sal and I looked at each other and said, you know what? We're too smart guys. We're going to figure it out.
Right.
So we took the $2.5 million. And I had a friend who was teaching radio, television, film at Austin, Texas, UT. And I called him up and I said, hey, you got a bunch of kids that need intern jobs. And he went, yeah, we had a hard time placing kids this year. I said, send them all. We rented apartments. We bought mattresses. And so E really started, well, we started out under the name Movie Time. And then we changed the name a little bit after. But E started with 11 employees and 31 interns. And then my friend wanted to kill me, actually, because half of the kids never went back. They started in the they were interns in the summer, and by the fall they were vice presidents, because as soon as it went on the air, everybody went, "Oh my God, why don't you tell us that's what you want to do? We would have given you the money 3 years ago." You know, it's always like that.
Then the light bulb clicked on years later.
Yeah. Well, once you saw it, to Alan and I, it was so obvious. People around the world love Hollywood gossip. They love Hollywood disasters. They love all the Hollywood stories. So here we had, the opportunity to develop them in detail. And, people were real interested in, how the business works, and not just, what movies coming out, but like how movies get financed and, all of that. And we were able to do that because we had 24 hours a day.
Gotcha.
And, we started very simply. If you look at MTV back in the early days when they actually did music videos, they had a host in front of a screen and went, "And Madonna has a new video." Oh, we said we could stand a host in front of a screen and go, "And Schwarzenegger has a new movie." We said it's the same arm movement. I mean, and people loved it. And then, we started getting into other stuff. We, the first show we really did was Talk Soup. And,
I remember that.
With Greg Kinnear.
Yeah.
And, people said, "Larry, you're out of your mind. You want to do a TV show that makes fun of TV shows." And I'm like, "Yeah, exactly."
Why not?
And, we had Greg, and, Greg was wonderful. You couldn't have had a better host, for that show than Greg. And I think, there are probably, almost 20 people that have hosted that. The show ran 26 years. From my crazy, silly idea, a 26-year run was pretty good. And, so that did good. And then we went on, Al and I met this radio guy in the elevator in New York, and he was telling us about his show, and we were like, yeah. Of course, you're the biggest thing we've ever. And he goes, "No, come and watch." And we did. And then we went back to the team in LA and said, "Hey, we want to put cameras in this guy's radio show." And they were like, "Larry, radio's been dead for 40 years. Why would we do that?" I go, "You guys don't understand. This is the reality show of KRP in Cincinnati." I said, "This is an ensemble comedy show." And, that was Howard Stern. And, so that went and did good. And, and again, Alan and I always looked at it and said, Hollywood is funny stuff. Don't try and make believe it's like rocket science or stuff like that. So he did, Wild on E and E Hollywood True Story. It was very irreverent.
Yeah. It's amazing. As you were talking again, I was thinking about the times where I was watching E growing up, and at certain times you had to have a certain package in your cable selection to get E, and we didn't always have it because we couldn't afford that part. But as time went on, it became more selective, and we were able to watch it in its entirety. And I really loved because I love the whole documentary aspect. So I really loved the whole True Hollywood stories and all that kind of good. Just seeing the behind the scenes things of people and how they were brought up, and that really opened my eyes up to me even having my own show today. So it really paved the way for a lot of individuals. I can only imagine, Larry, that there are a lot of no's in this process as well. How did you handle those no's?
Before we found that one guy that wrote the $2.5 million check, we were rejected, I think, 71 times.
Wow.
Where we went in and pitched and were told, "Get out of here." And again, it was always, "You're not Rupert Murdoch, go away." There was even one meeting that we went to where we sat in the conference room, and the main guy came in like an hour late. I mean, just had to sit there. I mean, totally rude. And he came in the room and carrying the business plan. Again, you had to print the business plan in those days, and it was like that thick. And he just sat down and he said, "Who had the nerve to send me this piece of garbage?" and throws the business plan at my head. And I'm like, I duck, and he didn't get me. And, I just said, okay, this guy obviously is not buying. But then again, I'm a Brooklyn kid. I ain't letting people throw stuff at my head. So I was just like, blah, 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 blah. And we went back and forth for like 20 minutes, like yelling at each other. And he just looked at us and said, I like it. I'm in for $500,000. And I went, what? And he walked out of the room and he gave us $500,000.
That's crazy to go through all that and say, here's some money. Goodbye. Wow.
It was crazy. But, if you look at it now, everybody talks about influencers and all of that kind of stuff. He is now in 142 countries. Yeah. On any given day, he reaches 100 times more people than the biggest influencers on the internet. Think about that. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Larry. So from the Eve that was started way back when to now, are you pleased with the progress that he has done over the years?
So this is your Louisiana girl, Denise Boutte, coming at you on the Michael Finkley Show. And you guys may know me from Why Did I Get Married as the really sweet girl, Trina, or maybe Meet the Browns as Sasha. But I'm coming at you guys from the great state of California, but originally from Louisiana, because I can't lose that Southern girl, baby. All right, you guys stay tuned to Michael Finkley.
On the next Michael Finkley, from Tyler Perry's Have and Have Nots, actor Patrick Fawcett is with us. And from the motion picture Million to One, actor Michael J. Patterson. Next Finkley. Hello everybody, it's Finkley from the Finkley Experience. We're an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. So we assist students with their college and career endeavors. We train school administrators on the state of first-generation students. And also, we partner with colleges and universities to assist their first-generation population for easy transition from high school to college. So if you're looking for a presenter or a speaker that presents on these topics and so much more, visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com and learn about all that we do. We're looking forward to working with you. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey, did you get your merch yet? Your Michael Finkley merch. Visit our website, michaelfinkleyshow.com, and click Finkley Store. You won't be disappointed. I'm telling you. That's good. Welcome to Father to Father. The mission of Father to Father, Charleston, South Carolina, is to help fathers in the Low Country area of South Carolina to be a positive and consistent presence in their children's lives. Father to Father provides community-based programs and support groups for fathers free of charge. They also help fathers connect to other resources they need so they can meet their responsibilities and secure their parental rights. Father to Father offers job coaching and employment connections that benefit fathers. Father to Father is a resource for local organizations that want to provide family support and father-friendly services. If this program is a fit for you, visit our location in North Charleston, South Carolina, and meet our friendly staff here to help and assist. Or visit our website at fathertofatherinc.org. Let me ask you this, Larry. So from the Eve that was started way back when to now, are you pleased with the progress that he has done over the years?
Some of it, yes, some of it, no. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, the folks that followed me, because I kind of got tired of being the corporate guy. I'm a creative, and I was spending all my time in like legal and board meetings and budgets, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to get somebody to do that other stuff, and I'm going to go and play international and do all of that. So some of the stuff, yes, the people that followed me did a really good job, in the day-to-day. Some of the stuff I wasn't happy with. When the Anna Nicole show was on, I said, guys, you're pushing this girl too hard. I said, you're going to cause her to have a nervous breakdown, more than a nervous breakdown. She died. Yeah. I said, you can't keep pushing her the way you're pushing her. And, it turned out not well. Yeah, but then you look at the Kardashians and, there's a story that probably will never be replicated in our lifetime again. I mean, it's amazing. It's a multi-billion-dollar brand that was built on E.
Exactly. And how much is it worth today?
E,
Mhm.
it's about 5.2 billion. Yeah.
$5.2 billion in a network. Wow, that's just
Yeah.
fantastic. I want
Our investors were very happy.
I know. Larry, I must say, please tell us the Oscar story, because you tried when you first began, you tried to go into these different arenas and you weren't as welcome as you are now, but please tell us this Oscar story.
Yeah, well, in our first year, we got out there, we were doing pretty well, and we actually were able to buy a camera and do all of that stuff. And of course, we started with like corporate industrial equipment. We didn't have enough money for broadcast equipment, so we would buy it from like companies who were shooting their training videos. And so the Oscars were coming up, and we applied for press credentials. And we got this very rude no-go way, going, "You're some dopey little cable system. No, you can't get it." So again, not knowing how you take no for an answer, we just gathered the crew, we climbed over the fence, and we snuck in. So here we are on the red carpet interviewing people and doing that. And then security caught us and they threw us out. But we had so much great footage. And again, it was very different than, Entertainment Tonight would be, "So tell us about your next project." We were like, "Hey, what are you wearing?" And we just took this whole different approach there, and it's like, instead of "tell us about your next project," you go, "What do you do with your kids on the weekend?" And people just loved it. And they said, "It looks like you took us in some place that we didn't belong." And I said, "Yeah, actually, we didn't belong, but whatever." So that kind of, helped us because people saw it and they loved it. And they said, "Oh, we see the kind of stuff you guys can do." And, then when the studio started polling people and say, "How did you decide what movie to go see this weekend?" It was like 1%, 3%, 7%. And we got up to like 25%. But the people who were going to the movies saying, "I decided based on what I saw on E." And then all of a sudden the studios were like, "Hey, we're shooting a movie in Brazil. Would you like to come?" And that kind of helped blow it up. And
Yeah, you're a trendsetter, my friend. Definitely a trendsetter, what we see today and how the other networks have followed that path even today. But Larry, even more so now, being a creative being, you took your talents abroad. Tell us about those different experiences and projects that were successful abroad.
yeah, sure. I decided, I got to go to places where Rupert Murdoch doesn't mean anything. So I went to Russia, and just kind of as a joke, and I was still at E and started doing stuff in Russia, and it was just when they were going through the transformation from this communist government economy to whatever they became, and I met the mayor of St. Petersburg, and the mayor of St. Petersburg said, "Hey, could you help me start a charity for the Children's Hospital and the orphanage, because we're having a hard time getting money sent from Moscow to help us keep these things going. So we want to start a music festival." And I was like, "No, I don't really do music." And they went, "Well, you got to know more than we do." And I went, "Okay, yeah, that's probably true." So we put together this thing called the White Nights Festival. Every year, it's 6 days, June 16th to 21st. We would do this music festival. We would bring major acts from David Bowie to Ringo Starr to Sheryl Crow, you name it. We brought them there. And we, over this 6-day music festival, we would raise 100% of the budget for the Children's Hospital and the orphanage. And, then people in the music business here were going, "Help us set up a concert for Paul McCartney." And I went, "No, I don't do music." And they went, "Oh, when you needed us for your music festival, you did music, right?" And so we ended up with a concert company that we did about 305 concerts, like major stuff, even 3 tenors on Red Square and things like that. And and that festival ran 31 years. It stopped literally 2 years ago when this Ukraine thing started, because there's nobody that's going to go to Russia while the war is going on. And but so I was there, and then I decided that, well, this is fun, and Russian people are too serious and have too many problems. Instead of reading Dostoevsky all day, let's give them soap operas. So we launched a soap opera there that was on 5 nights a week, and it ran 10 years. It was the #1 and #2 show in Russia for 10 years, which is crazy, but it did. And then I actually married the former president of Russia's niece. And so I married Brezhnev's niece, and we have a cute little Sasha who's now in Boston College. And when we divorced, I said, hey, your family comes from Russia. You keep the Russia company, and I'll take, the U.S. company. And so I just said, okay, where else can I go? And it was just then I got called in by the Chinese government because I helped the Russians rewrite media legislation. It's like if you're going to bring in a Western economy, you have to have marketing opportunities that look a little bit familiar to Western marketers. So it's not like if you know the right person in the Communist Party, you do whatever you feel like. So I had come in and helped the Russians do media reform. And then when the Chinese realized they needed to do the same thing if they were going to build an economy, they went to the Russians and said, hey, could you help us? And the Russians went, no, there's a guy in LA that helped us. And so I got called in by the Chinese government. And, so I helped the Chinese rewrite media reform. And then they asked me if I would teach, and there's a quote, young television executives the process of creativity for profit, which I did. And, and then kind of the guys that run the day-to-day there, if you had a profile it, they're 40 to 50, went to Harvard and Yale and Stanford and stuff like that. So they believe in the cause, but they're not the heavy-duty doctrine guys. Those are like 70-year-old guys. And they said, Larry, why don't you start a media company here so we could learn from you? And I went, you don't let Western media companies in here. And they went, no, we just don't let the ones we don't like. Like, okay, why are you going to be so kind to me? And they went, it's really simple. When we have a fight with Rupert Murdoch, it's front page of the Wall Street Journal. We have a fight with you. We go out for drinks. We yell at each other all night, but tomorrow we're good. They said, we'd rather do it that way for now. I went, okay, that's pretty honest. I get it. So started this media company in China, and it's still going. So, I don't get to go as often since COVID, but the company's doing fine. And we do films, we do TV shows, we do internet content, we do stuff for brands that, Western brands that are looking to get in the market and build their brand awareness. And now the big thing we're doing is, I don't know if you've seen here in the US, they have these immersive Van Gogh, these immersive experiences where you go in a room and you're kind of like living inside the Van Gogh paintings and stuff like that. It's a huge phenomenon in the US. It's really brought younger folks back into the world of art and culture because they don't teach it in school anymore. And, you can't tell a kid, here's a book on, Vincent van Gogh, go read it. That's nothing. But you bring them into this immersive thing and sound and lights and digital and whatever, and they get into it. And so it's kind of expanded that. So we're doing those in China. And probably the most fun thing that happened for me in China, and it's funny because people always ask me the question, what's your biggest success story? And they expect me to say E. And financially, yeah, it's E. But I decided that even though I've never written comedy or produced comedy in my life, I'm going to do comedy. So I wrote a comedy about the contradictions of modern Chinese life, which is basically what happens when you have incredible economic growth in a short period of time. and people's social skills don't grow as quickly as their bank account. You know, we've seen it with the Russians and the Arabs with the gold chains and the Gucci this and Prada that, pink Porsches and Ferraris and all of that stuff. So I wrote this comedy, and it was kind of funny because I gave it to my, and I write the story. I can't write dialogue in China.
Gotcha.
And so I gave it to our partner there, you know, a woman in China named Jean. And she said, I love this. Could I take it to the TV station? I went, yeah, sure, go ahead. She comes back, she says, I took it to the big TV station, CCTV 8 in China, reaches 1.1 billion homes. It's crazy. And she said, I took it to the head of station, he really likes it, and he asked to have dinner with the writer. And Tuesday night, we're going to dinner with Mr. or whatever his name was. So I'm sitting there and they come in.
Change Empowerment Virtual Conference. Join us for 3 days on February 23rd, 25th, 2024 from 6 p.m. 9 p.m. EST by CTR Media Network. Are you ready to unlock your potential and make a meaningful impact? This is an opportunity to connect with a diverse audience and contribute to breaking down barriers that hinder progress. Support the cause, sponsorship and collaboration opportunities. While the speaker opportunity is free, we are offering limited opportunities for sponsorship, vendor slots, advertisement spots, and welcome donations to support the production of this transformative event. If you represent a media company, business, podcaster, or any organization interested in collaboration, please reach out to info@ctrmedianetwork.com or visit our website at www.ctrmedianetwork.com.